There is a press release from the Coalition for Farmers' Rights and Advocacy Against GMO, COFAM, and it's dated 26th of January 2014, and it reads, the Coalition for Farmers' Rights and Advocacy Against GMO, COFAM, a grassroots movement of farmers, labor unions, religious groups, and political and civil society organizations, will hold a public demonstration against the introduction of genetically modified foods and plants breeders bill on Tuesday, 28 January, that's today, 2014. The demonstration coincides with the date on which Parliament is expected to convene on January 28, 2014 to consider the plant breeders bill at the first meeting of the second section of the Sixth Parliament of the Fourth Republic. Our aim is to focus on public attention on the implications of the bill for our health, wealth and sovereignty, and raise awareness and participation in what is going on. The demonstration will start from the Obra Sport Kwame Nkrumah Circle at 9 a.m. and will converge at the Arts Centre in Accra. The plant breeders bill currently at the consideration stage before Parliament is all about the imposition of genetically modified organisms, GMOs, in our food chain, without public awareness, discussions on public participation in that decision. Far from simply dealing with the rights of the bill, it is designed to preempt the law of Ghana and prevent farmers from freely saving, using and sharing seeds from season to season. And as they always done, the ultimate result of the bill will also be to put Ghana's food supply into the hands of the foreign corporation. The general public is invited to participate in this show of solidarity with Ghanaian farmers and people's right to healthy and culturally appropriate food produced through ecologically sound and sustainable methods to help resist the theft, destruction, and loss of commons of our natural and indigenous resources by means of law, commercial contracts, and intellectually property rights regime. And it's signed by Kofi Ajay, Department of Communications, COFAM. Good news, I have Kofi Ajay with the Department of Communications team in the studio this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Okay. And you?
I'm very well. Welcome to the show again.
Thank you.
Now, COFAM, or Coalition for Farmers' Rights and Advocacy Against GMO, what is it? I mean, we saw the letter and what you do and all. What exactly is the movement about?
COFAM is a new group formed seeking one thing in Ghana. Our aim is to defend and to protect and to also uphold the interests of the ordinary Ghanaian farmer who probably might have not had the formal education to know the intricacies of what goes on in policy making. COFAM therefore seeks to ensure that currently Parliament has a bill before them on the plant breeders, and we've been able to detect and then go through some areas of the bill.
So your members are the farmers, the labor unions, religious, political, and
that's
why
right.
Are you adding all of these people? You know, are they singing the same song with you?
Yes, we've been able to come together as a coalition form, and we've explained to them what the plant breeders bill seek to achieve, which at the end of the day...
Tell us, I mean, what do you think it seeks to achieve, the bill?
We believe that Ghana as a country, we have our sovereignty to protect. We are a republic nation. We are a country with its own people, her own people and citizens. And the citizens over the years, we've been able to develop certain products for ourselves in terms of agriculture. For instance, if history was serve all of us right, palm oil plant, for instance, according to studies, originated from West Africa, to be precise, Ghana and Nigeria.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, who is to protect the Ghanaian farmer who started cultivating this crop product which has become a worldwide commodity. It is the intellectuals in the country who must do this. But at the end of the day, we observe that sometimes certain citizens of our nation do not do us a good work. They collaborate with organizations like seed producing companies outside Ghana who have different technology that is not suitable to our locality for the sake of probably certain opportunities they may gain for themselves. But we are looking at the larger majority of our citizens. We are looking at the farmer who sees money was used to put up the first university, premier university in Ghana, University of Ghana. Before the foundation stone of that institution was set up, it was the Ghanaian farmers' contribution, money, seed money, that was used to set up the institution. Let me tell you today, most of the Ghanaian farmers themselves, their wards are not able to enter into this institution due to what? Sometimes high fee charge, because they have been working over the years on subsistence level. Farming. So COFAM simply seeks to ensure that the Ghanaian farmer has suffered enough. Most of them have suffered enough. Let us look at even our national economy and what farming in Ghana contribute to. It is the largest employing area of our economic sector. But what have we seen over the years? So COFAM, we have realized that the new plant breeders bill that is about to be before Parliament, that they are looking into, if it should be passed, it is just going to submit the sovereignty of the Ghanaian farmer, his right to protect his seeds, his right to produce his seeds, save and reproduce with them, and have control over the seeds themselves.
Yeah, now, so what is it? What is GMO? I mean, why are you really against the GMO plant?
Is it when we talk of GMO? GMO is a kind of scientific research that they use the processes to manipulate seeds of a plant. But scientifically, we have what we call vertical transfer of genes and horizontal transfer of genes. When it comes to vertical, then you are employing basically the genes of a whole different species to influence the genetic constitution of the plant or of the crop. At the end of the day, when we talk of horizontal gene transfer, that is the process where we find a particular species developing positive traits over years due to ability to sustain itself against natural hazards, ability to be able to stand the environmental problems or pests, and that is over the years, and then this crop become conducive for a particular environment. So we believe Ghana, we have the seeds we have are good enough for our farmers to continually use for reproduction and save for continuity.
Okay.
The problem of Ghana is not the problem of seeds for planting. The problem of Ghana is our inability to put up a very good and efficient post-harvest technology system to curtail the huge post-harvest losses that affect our farmers. Farmers do not gain enough for what they produce for the country, because most of the things they produce, we can say about 60% of what they produce sometimes go waste. And that is what COFAM seeks to achieve, that every Ghanaian who believes that our sovereignty in terms of food. Probably we can say over the years a lot of properties have been taken from our country. We can say our gold is no more useful to us. We can say we have not been able to enjoy the benefit of our own natural resources, but not food. Food, well, which is the basic, the central focus of your health and economic wealth. Let me tell you, he who controls the food system controls the wealth of the people.
So hold that thought. We've just been joining the studio. Al-Hassan Songo, he's a member, National Biosafety.
Sando.
Sango.
S-A-N-D-O-W.
Oh, D-O Sando.
Yes.
Okay, so sorry. It's Al-Hassan Sando. He's a member, National Biosafety Committee and National Coalition for Farmers' Rights and Advocacy. You're very welcome, sir.
I'm not a member of Farmers' Rights and Advocacy. That's an NGO.
Oh, okay. So, no, you are. So, you were the coalition people.
I'm not with the coalition.
Oh, so why
I don't know how they
there?
introduce me.
Uh-huh.
I'm a member of OFAB.
Oh, OFAB.
Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology.
Okay.
I'm also a member of National Biosafety Committee. I was a former Director General of the Ghana Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. And well, I create awareness creation on issues of biotechnology and biotechnology policy. So I'm not part of the
coalition.
No.
Okay.
Please,
GMO products and all. What's your take on it, sir?
Well, it's a technology that is coming up, or that has come up, to add to the number of tools we have to address the problems of food security globally. And Ghana is becoming one of the international players because we have to put certain enabling environments in place. And Ghana is actively doing that to take benefits of what this new technology can bring.
So you are for GMOs, can I say that?
Yes, I'm for GMOs for which can meet the needs for a specific task. I'm not blanket saying that I'm supporting GMOs.
So what task specifically, sir? Meeting, you said you are for it in meeting some specific
Yes, for our specific needs. When we are faced with challenges that traditional methods cannot handle, like overhead him talking about our food production, a lot of food production, post-harvest losses and things like that. When, and even production, she said we have got enough seeds, and I'm saying no, we don't have enough. Because if those challenges come up, like we have a new crop of insects, which are worrying crops, or new diseases have suddenly come up, viral diseases, fungal diseases, soil-borne organisms like what we call nematodes.
Yeah.
And the traditional varieties are not able to help us to be able to produce under those terrains. Then we look at other technologies, and biotechnology offers an opportunity for scientists to find out whether there are particular genes from somewhere which can help control this, and which science will allow us to transfer to our own traditional varieties to be able to cope with the stress. We have climate change problems. We have drought. When we don't expect it, farmers start planting, the rain stops. And then after some time, the rain comes. Those plants which grew up to a certain stage may not be able to grow further to be able to get a particular yield. But if we can have a variety which can, under that kind of stress condition, biologically adapt itself so that when adequate rains come, it's able to grow, or even flooding. At times they grow their crops, before you realize, heavy downpour of rains. Most of the crops may get wiped off. If there are plants which can help farmers to be able to cope with that kind of stress situation, and if it is a GMO, we'll go for it. If it's a conventional product, we'll go for it.
What can you say react to it? What do you say?
I thank my father for his wonderful submission. And I only want to put certain records straight. I've already said the problem of Ghana or Ghanaian farmers is not seeds, but he's here saying we lack seeds which are able to combat the various pests and then nematodes and so forth. These are certain comments when people that have gone through systems like the CSIR come on public media platform and say these things, we panic and we fear the future of our country, for the future of our country, simply because Ghanaian farmers have never cried that the Obatampa maize seeds they've been growing is not yielding the result they want. Ghanaian farmers' cry is basically how they can get the state to take care of the produce they produce, how they can earn a lot from what they produce, so that the buyers may not go to the hinterlands, the rural areas, and because they know there are no buyers, they just go and give the price they want for their suffering. This is the Ghanaian farmers' plight. The plight of Ghanaian farmers are not due to seeds. So if anybody is telling us that GMO seeds are coming to bring heaven to earth for farmers, it's a big lie.
But have you looked at the pros of it? Have you looked at the pros of the coalition? Have you looked at the pros of it? What it's going to do? Reducing post-harvest losses, you know, and then making sure that the products are, you know, disease-free and all that. Have you looked at the process or the pros of GMO products?
GMO products became rejected in the whole continent of Europe. The system that produced it from United States of America entered into Europe with the product, and they disagree that those seeds they are seeking to enter into their country cannot be accepted. So whatever that they want to do with those seeds, there must be a control system created to ensure that there is no interaction between the genetically modified seeds and what they had there already. When we go to India today, the entry of GMO seeds, as I heard my father say, that they see it to have positive trait. The very countries who took or accepted, embraced these seeds are now in problem as to whether to continue it, because one, it has in itself the ability to destroy all other crops or related crops that comes into contact with it. Scientifically, it is developed in a manner whereby when you plant it in your country, they genetically modify some in such a way that if there are weeds, they will tell you economically you don't need to weed. The plant itself can fight the weed around it and produce.
Is that not a good thing? I mean, is that not good?
It is a good thing, but what I'm telling you is it is not sustainable. It is not sustainable. After it has done that to our environment, we will tend to have environmental problems over the years, because when you plant it and it fights such weeds, there will be time that the weeds will develop resistance against the crop. We will then have a resulting wild weeds that cannot be controlled. And this have been able, they've identified all this with GMO.
And our country. I can see you smiling. Say, can you give some reaction to this?
Yeah. I don't know where he's getting.
He's smiling because.
No. I'm surprised at the emphasis with which he's bringing out information which is not completely true. What he's saying about GMOs is also true of non-GM. If you decide, if you grow any crop, whether GM or not, and because they've manufactured a particular insecticide or pesticide, you use it heavily, it's a natural phenomenon that after some time, the plant, that's the survival of the species. The plant, they will become varieties, we call it mutation. They will suddenly change in the genes to ensure survival. So some lines may come up, which will. So what we're saying is that the use of herbicide-tolerant genes allows you to grow the crops, like you asked him, without spending too much on weeding. And the herbicide they use is herbicide which is being tested and to degrade rapidly. You know, it's not like any other herbicide. So it's a special herbicide which is used. But if you do not manage it well, there could be resistance. So you have to manage it well change, as time goes on, scientists will have to come out with new types of herbicides, which will allow the plant now, the issue of getting resistant to a particular herbicide, the pressure is reduced because the new one has come up, which the plant has not yet been able to adjust itself to. And that is true to whether you are dealing with GMOs or non-GMOs. If you have what we call, you are using an insecticide to control certain pests, like we are trying to go into BT cotton and all that in Ghana. The farmer has to be trained to do what we call stewardship. And Ghana has also done that kind of stewardship training. I happened to coordinate a project when I was working with the Forum for Agricultural Research in Africa, in 6 countries in Africa, teaching them how to do proper stewardship from the laboratory right down to the farmer's level. So that the farmer, as level, we say you have to create an area, a buffer zone around your crop. We call it refugia. If you do not create that refugia, the insects is a refuge, so that the insects which are under pressure because they are feeding on GMOs can move out once in a while to go and feed on a non-GM, so that the tendency to mutate, so that they become resistant and to produce the so-called super weeds and insects will not arise. So that is called stewardship. But because you don't spray, farmers, it's a difficult thing. Farmers don't want to do the spraying. We say you have to do a little bit of spraying. You have to grow a few crops, which are non-GM. But instead of spraying, in the case of cotton, instead of spraying 6 times, you spray only 2 times to control other insects with the gene doesn't go. So the technology comes with complete management. It doesn't say that just introduce the technology and go to sleep because you have a GMO. No.
But I like to realize there are several groups. We have the coalition, we have the Food Sovereignty Ghana, they're all against it. So is there like communication, education system where you guys come in educating them on the need for, is there anything like that?
My young lady. The problem is that we are dealing with activists. And if you are dealing with an activist, their mind is made up. What he's saying, I have interacted with them in several fora. Whenever you tell them that the GMO is just a tool, it's a new variety coming in. The farmer can use other varieties which he thinks can meet his or her needs. But if you are finding out that we cannot meet those particular needs, and there are new varieties which can help us cope and be able to address our problems of food security, it's also available for you to try. But they just think that GMO means we just fold our hands as scientists and then let companies bring GMOs, and then when we cannot get the GMOs, our food sovereignty is sacrificed, farmers will be enslaved. That is not the case.
That is it.
That's not the case.
That's what I think.
And we've said it several times, but they refuse to accept it.
Assuming today Parliament sits and then something positive comes out, like they are agreeing on passing on the bill, what happens to the coalition?
Thank you. Before I come to your question, let me address certain atrocities which my father seeks to still propel, even at the level of this platform. Please. GMO, Ghana as a nation set up a research centers to be able to ensure that they collect and develop upon the natural seeds that God granted this country. We have our natural seeds because one thing about creation is that, or over the years, is that any people that God create on earth and put in a particular habitat, He add all the necessary materials and crops which you can depend on to survive. What is left now is for our so-called scientists in the country who are into researching to research about this God-given crops, seeds we are as a nation, for we to develop upon that. And that is why I call your attention to a palm oil plant, which came from oil plant, which came from West Africa to the rest of the world. At the end of the day, if we as Ghanaians do not protect that particular crop, a time will come that others will manipulate it in the favor of even the natural order we have in our country. We may not have it. At the end of the day, look at this, some of the issues. First of all, some of the farmers made us to understand that when they came, they were told that the GMO seeds are scientifically modified seeds which scientists in the country have developed. See the lie. But scientists in Ghana or agricultural scientists in Ghana are not the people that develop the GMO. If they want to do anything,
let me get a quick reaction. I mean,
they should seek.
I guess yes.
They should seek.
Getting it from the experts.
Let me land.
Was that what was said that it was here from here?
No, that is what? Exactly. They have field trials. They are doing field trials in this country when the laws of the land has not permitted them.
Again, that's a false.
What can you say about that?
The field trials. First of all, the scientists in the country are contributing to the development of GMOs. They have to get the genes from outside. The gene construct, we don't have that one yet. But as time goes on, capacity is being built. That's another line of scientists who will just be doing what we call gene mining, finding where the genes are and so on, and then developing protocols. That one, we have not got to that stage yet. But we are collaborating with scientists elsewhere who can help us identify those genes for particular challenges we are faced with and come out with a plant variety that they have genetically modified. But it is not suitable for our condition. Maybe, talking of cowpea, aflatoxin, I won't talk about it because we don't have any problem. So it's not being edible. So maybe people don't have too much concern. But we are working on cowpea at the moment. This wache, I'm talking about. Okay. It's a plant that is being devastated by insects. An insect called maruca. Nigeria has done a lot of work in it. They took the lead from, and Ghana is also following up, Burkina Faso is also following up. When they estimated the damage caused by that maruca to cowpea, because you spray and the insects are not killed. And he's talking about nature has created an environment. You spray and those insects are not killed. They spend about $300 million. That's equivalent. You know, the damage that is caused by maruca. They make holes into the cowpea and force hanging out.
Yeah.
Now, they're spraying the insecticides they use to the extent of $500 million insecticide to spray. And I'm talking about a research institution which is on the ground. I've been there before. I worked there, a research institution, Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, called Samaru Zaria. That's where they are doing this sort of research. And Ghana too is on it. So there are problems. So they then went on to this GM thing. This GM thing for this particular BT cowpea thing, the original work started in Australia. But now we have got the plantlets who can do, but we have to try under our own conditions whether they will even grow.
Yeah.
And now that we found out they can grow, they did a few tests in the Pacific Islands before even coming here. We are now moving the genes, what we call, the scientists call introgression. That's what we are doing on the confined field trial. We are introgressing the genes into local varieties. And that's an art by itself. I'm in the area of policy, I've headed, I've done research over the years, but I cannot do it. Because scientists who have been trained in the CSR are doing it at the moment. They are moving these genes into our local. And when they do that, they still have to try it in various locations in the country. And they have to do safety tests.
Sure. Our time is out. I think we should have this discussion again. But it's happening today at the Obra Sports, 9 a.m. This one, that's demonstration. So be there, join them, the coalition for farmers' rights and advocacy against GMO. So I've been talking to Kofi Ajade, he's with the communications department, and Al-Hassan Sanjo, right?
Yeah.
Sanjo, okay, all right. So I'll be right back.
We didn't talk about the time.